Max Verstappen led the 2026 Nürburgring 24 hours for 85 laps across 24 hours of racing, built a 3-0-second cushion over the field, with fewer than 3 hours remaining, and still didn't win. A single broken driveshaft, triggered by a cascading wheel bearing failure, ended the four-time Formula One world champion's debut attempt at the legendary Nordschleife in the most brutal fashion endurance racing can deliver. For the first time in the race's 5-6-year history, the event sold out entirely, a direct consequence of Verstappen's entry. The crowd came to witness history. What they got instead was a masterclass in speed, courage, and ultimately, the unforgiving nature of endurance motorsport. The magnitude of Verstappen's Nürburgring campaign cannot be overstated. This was not an impulsive decision. As confirmed by ESPN's race coverage, Verstappen spent a full year preparing for this event, returning to the classroom to attain a special racing permit while simultaneously competing at the top level of Formula One. His weapon of choice, the number 3 Mercedes-AMG GT3, run by Windward Racing and presented in a full Red Bull livery. Alongside him, 3 accomplished co-drivers, Daniel Juncadella, Jules Gounon, and Lucas Auer, rounded out a lineup built with genuine victory intentions. The qualifying result reflected the team's seriousness. Juncadella placed the car 4th on the grid, setting the stage for a race-long fight at the sharp end of the field. The sister entry, the No. 80 Mercedes, crewed by Mauro Engel, Luca Stolz, Fabian Schiller, and Maxime Martin, would prove to be Verstappen Racing's closest rival throughout the entire 24 hours. According to GP Blog's post-race analysis, the two sister Mercedes entries spent the majority of the race separated by between 10 and 20 seconds, which, over a 2-4-hour endurance race on the 2-5-kilometer Nordschleife, represents an extraordinarily close internal battle and a genuinely uncomfortable position for any team managing 2 cars capable of winning. Verstappen's first stint began on lap 8, taking over from Juncadella after the opening phase of the race. The car entered his hands in 10th position following the pit stop cycle. What followed silenced every doubter. As documented by Crash.net's live race coverage, Verstappen immediately cut through the field in mixed conditions, carving from 10th place into the race lead through a sequence of aggressive overtakes. The Nordschleife, 25 kilometers of unforgiving tarmac, offered no margin for error, and Verstappen very nearly found that limit early. On the run toward the famous Flansgarten section, his heavily fueled Mercedes went light over a crest, briefly lifting 2 front wheels off the circuit and spearing the car toward the barriers. He recovered. The crowd exhaled. By the end of lap 15, Verstappen had completed a double stint staying in the car through a second consecutive session as rain arrived and conditions deteriorated further. Each time he climbed out, the No. 1-3 was either leading or firmly in contention. As reported by Sky Sports F1, several GT3 category drivers praised Verstappen specifically for his ability to manage traffic, one of the most underrated and demanding skills in endurance racing, where a prototype traveling at 280 kilometers per hour can appear in your mirrors while you're threading through a chicane with a touring car ahead of you. For a driver making his debut at this circuit in this format, the feedback from seasoned Nordschleife veterans carried real weight. The race's defining chapter came in near total darkness. According to GP Blog's race timeline, Verstappen returned to the No. 3 car at approximately 1:30 CET for his first ever motorsport stint in full night conditions. What followed was the race within the race. Mauro Engel, in the No. 80 Mercedes, refused to yield, and the 2 drivers engaged in a wheel-to-wheel duel for the lead that included contact between the 2 sister cars, sending Engel briefly off the circuit onto the grass. Both cars survived. The intensity was unlike anything seen in the race's recent history. Verstappen eventually completed the overtake before the halfway point on the Duttinger Hoa straight, the longest full-throttle section on the Nordschleife, and the No. 3 car extended its advantage through the night and into Sunday morning. Speaking after his Sunday morning stint, as quoted by Sky Sports F1, Verstappen said, "My stint was good. Back in the daylight, I was trying to keep it safe while, of course, maintaining a decent pace. The car was working well, and I just tried to stay out of trouble." That double stint on Sunday morning pushed the lead to 30 seconds over the No. 80 what appeared, at that moment, to be a winning gap with fewer than 200 minutes of racing remaining. Then, in the space of half a lap, it was over. Verstappen handed the car to Juncadella for the final phase. As Juncadella himself described to media, including GP fans, "I came out of the pits, everything felt normal, but after about half a lap or even a third of a lap, I saw an ABS malfunction warning appear and disappear." Stefan Wendell, head of Mercedes-AMG Customer Racing, provided the technical breakdown in the post-race press briefing. As reported by MotorBiscuit, just after the pit stop, Danny reported some noise from the rear right, and first of all, we had an ABS failure, which leads us to assume an electric failure, something we could reset. We tried to recover in 2 laps and left him out because it was not so much influencing the driving. But then he recognized more and more noise, vibrations, and suddenly had to slow down to save the car and limped it to the pits. Upon inspection, the scale of the damage became clear. As confirmed by Crash.net, a wheel bearing failure had caused a complete driveshaft breakage, with the resulting damage extending to multiple surrounding components. This was not a quick fix. With 3 hours and 20 minutes remaining, the number 3 car sat immobile in the garage as the number 80 Mercedes inherited the lead it would never relinquish. The number 3 was eventually repaired and returned to the circuit for a symbolic final lap, finishing the race classified P38 overall and P20 within the SP9 GT3 class. The paddock reactions were raw and immediate. Verstappen, speaking to media shortly after the retirement was confirmed, said, "That's it. It's a very bitter pill to swallow. From the moment we took the lead, the driveshaft gave out and our battle for victory was over. I want to thank everyone for their support throughout the weekend." As reported by GP fans, co-driver Juncadella, himself a simulator driver for the Aston Martin F1 team, was equally candid. In comments documented by GP fans, "Of course it hurts. We had a perfect race. There are things that can't be controlled. I've been dreaming of winning this race for a long time. It hurts. But it doesn't have to turn into a big drama. We'll be back next year." Lucas Auer, Mercedes-AMG factory driver and teammate throughout the 24 hours, acknowledged the collective disappointment while noting the performance achieved. "It was a disappointing end for car number 3, but I'm still very proud of the team and my teammates. There's some frustration for sure, yet I'm proud of what we've achieved," as quoted by GP fans' post-race coverage. The race itself was claimed by the number 80 Mercedes-AMG, the same sister car Verstappen had battled wheel-to-wheel in darkness hours earlier. Engel, Stolz, Schiller, and Martin delivered a flawless final 3 hours once the number 3 retired, ending Mercedes' decade-long wait for a Nürburgring 24 hours overall victory. The 2026 Nürburgring 24 hours confirmed something the Formula One world already knew. Verstappen's competitive instinct transcends categories and formats. He led 85 laps of one of the most technically demanding circuits on Earth in his debut at the event, dueled the best GT3 drivers in darkness, and was on course to win before a mechanical failure beyond anyone's control intervened. As confirmed by Sky Sports F1, Verstappen has already signaled his intention to return. "I will for sure try," citing his love for endurance-style racing and the unique challenge the Nordschleife presents. Juncadella echoed the sentiment, with his social media post capturing the spirit of the team's resolve. Verstappen replied directly, "Strong drive, mate. We will be back," as documented by GP fans. The next target on Verstappen's endurance racing radar remains the Le Mans 24 hours, another ambition he has cited publicly. A driver of his caliber, demonstrated so clearly this weekend, will not go to that race as a passenger. For the Nürburgring, 2027 cannot come soon enough. I'll continue bringing you only verified motorsport statistics, real driver interviews, and documented race analysis. No clickbait, no speculation, just the facts about what's happening in motorsport, based on official sources and verified information.